she won the first set. And moving forward, she couldn't own on her own to get to the final lap and win this one. Disappointing from a Jabeur perspective, but big credit to Rybakina, exceptional tennis player, always getting to this point, I must confess, always getting to this point at the final. It can go either way. It always boils down to who makes less error and who desires to take it all. And that was what we saw. Sadly, from an African perspective, sadly from an Arabic perspective, so sad from an Jabeur fan perspective, she couldn't win this one. But she can take solace in the fact that there's been progress, moving step by step by step by step. This year has been a wonderful year for Jabeur. Won a tour level title, reached the final of Wimbledon. Before now, one could have thought probably she would be a quarterfinalist. The highest she could go with the quarterfinal position, but she's gone all the way to the final, and who knows what can happen. She can build from here, but sadly she's 27 and has limited time to do a whole lot in winning the Grand Slam.
Right now, you've talked about it. Poker. That's the approach. For her, this particularly, she's taking it bit by bit. From winning a tour level title to playing in the Grand Slam final. Very sadly, she hasn't been able to win it. But the future looks very bright for her, doesn't it? Surely,
especially when you consider where she's coming from.
Yes.
Last year was quite difficult for her, and then she began to build it, especially this year. And at a pace she's taking, definitely one could have expected Jabeur to go all out and probably win the Wimbledon title, which she didn't, especially when there's no Iga Swiatek. But sadly, it's not happened. But good momentum as far as I'm concerned. She can look at this year so far, well, mid into the year, and begin to think about this another Grand Slam coming, the US Open. If probably she goes on the way she's going, she might go for the US Open.
Right now, let's switch our attentions back to the champion, Rybakina.
Yeah.
She's 23, and of course, we've seen, different tennis players at this level sparkle. Many, for lack of a better phrase, flattered to deceive.
Yeah.
They hit the big patch like this and you're expecting great things from them, and then all of a sudden, the whole attention, of course, the media hype and the pressure that comes with playing at this level of competition just swallows them up. You're expecting a little Rybakina rather to follow in that light, or will this be the springboard for her to catapult and move to the very highest level of tennis?
Right. I think nobody really gave Rybakina the chance to go all the way and win at Wimbledon. But there's not been a lot of media hype around her, because you look at her performances in 2020. I think she was bold on that. Remember, I did talk about it in 2020. She did a completely 21 wins in 25 games. And then moved up. Let me just finish.
Yeah.
Moved up. Got to 4 tour level finals. She didn't win any, but disappointingly, it had been that process when nobody really talked about it, and she's beginning to build that momentum. She's 23 now, then she was about 20 or 21. Now she's building that momentum, and she's able to win the Wimbledon final. Definitely good player by my standard, because it doesn't seem like a one-camel player as far as I'm concerned. I think she's going to build on it, and the coming years we might see more from Rybakina.
Now, let's talk about something, little or nothing was said about, Naomi Osaka.
Yeah.
And then she went on to do what she did in the past.
Okay.
And we know how it spun out for her. Same story for a US Open champion from last year. We're talking Rybakina. Walking Broadway everywhere.
Yeah.
Got all the media attention, and life has never been the same for her. But that didn't happen until they captured the big prize, which was the Grand Slam. And now it's the same story for Rybakina. She's always been on the map, but she's never won a Grand Slam. And winning a Grand Slam takes you to a whole new level.
I agree. Well, for me, I think it could be very difficult when the spotlight is on you, especially as a young lad. You did mention, especially Emma. Emma Raducanu seemed to be the big example. But you look at how Emma came out. It was just a shocker. For me, I'm consolidating on her performance. I'm talking about Rybakina now. Her performance in previous years, 2020 in particular. I think beyond the glamour, when you look at the talent compared to Emma, she's a better talent compared to Emma. Naomi Osaka, definitely, she's been around for a while. Sadly, she went through that depression series. Difficult for her to go through a lot, especially after that shutout with Serena Williams at the finals. And that depression setting, it could be very difficult for a black girl. I hope she gets better and recover and play the tennis we know how to play. But she's beginning to come up. In recent times, we've seen better performance from Naomi Osaka. I really hope Rybakina doesn't toe that line of difficulty, that line of being lost in the glamour. She might likely get to follow the likes of Iga Swiatek. We've seen Iga Swiatek perform time after time, again and again, just at 20, even with all the glamour. I really hope, because she's a talented lad. When you bet Jabeur, that seemed like everything was working for Jabeur. It definitely shows you are good enough to go all the way and win for the titles.